Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and happy December. I cannot believe it's already December, and if you're like me, you're already getting into the Christmas spirit. Yesterday I watched quite a few Christmas movies. I don't know if that's any better, but it is already monthly favorites time, so I'm sharing some of my favorite things from the month of November. Getting confused as to what month it is. From like entertainment to beauty, and some food and drinks that I've been enjoying, that I enjoyed during the month of November. So without further ado, let's get started. So for entertainment, I don't have a lot of things to hold up, so there will be lots of pictures popping in this month. The first one is The Good Doctor. So this show has been like a breakout hit, so I don't know if you've never heard of it, I don't know what to tell you, but it's about a doctor that has autism, that's on the autism spectrum, and he is like an intern to become a surgeon, like a surgical resident, I guess, and he's played, I can't remember the actor's name, so I'll put it in here, but he was like a child actor. He acted a lot when he was a kid, so he was the kid from August Rush and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I can't remember which one's which. I think it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the one with Johnny Depp. He was Charlie. But it's a really good show. Like sometimes it gets a little bit frustrating for me to watch just because I've been around people with disabilities my entire life. Like my sister has a disability, so not just like her, but other kids and young adults and stuff like that, and like seeing how people look at them and treat them, like that's really real for me. So it was kind of frustrating to watch at some moments, but it is a really good show and I would definitely recommend checking it out. Next, I just like, in general, I mentioned his new album when it came out, but just like in general, Gavin DeGraw. I saw him in October, and after I saw him, then I was like, man, I could listen to him play his entire like discography, all of his music, and I would just sit there and listen to it. Like, so good. There was a piece of like dust that was floating in front of the camera. Like, no, okay, maybe it's just a reflection of something. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I just love him and his music. One of my favorite like albums that he's released that I don't know if it was really popular or not, but it was called Free, so it was like a stripped album, and just like I could listen to that album and just like close my eyes and just love every minute of it. So if you're a Gavin DeGraw fan and you don't know that album, go listen to it. Like, just check it out, because it just makes my heart happy listening to that album and his music and seeing him, and like I could talk about him all day, but I already kind of have in a monthly favorites quite a few months ago, but oh, he's just like an all-time favorite. Next is the only thing I have to hold up for you is Taylor Swift's Reputation. If you watched the weekend vlog when The Weeknd just came out, I'll put a link to it up there. I think it's up there. Yes. You'll know that my first impression wasn't, like, I was kind of like, eh. It's grown on me, and now it's like, damn catchy. Dang catchy. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, I don't think that it's like the best album I've ever heard, but like when you're jamming out in your car, like it's definitely a good album to listen to. I definitely still like the second half better. I think my favorite songs are Don't Blame Me, Getaway Car, I like Dancing with Our Hands Tied, but yeah. If you haven't listened to it, I believe it's now available on all streaming services, so you don't have to go out and buy it. I don't know, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but then again, at the same time, I went out and bought it, so it worked, but now I can listen to it on Spotify as well, so. But if you haven't listened to it, it's not all like look what you made me do. It's not, like, it's catchy, but it's not all that, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it. Next is The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. I don't know. It's a book. It's the same person who wrote The Woman in Cabin 10, which is on my list of books to read. But it was a really good book, and I rented it from my local library on ebook, so I had it for 2 weeks, and I read it, I think, in just over a week. Like, it was that good, and it was around 500 pages on my ebook, but like that changes based on how big the text is, so I'm not sure how many pages it is, but it was really good. It was kind of, so it's about 4 friends that were friends in like boarding school, so it kind of reminds me of like Gossip Girl almost, but basically in the town where their boarding school was, one of the girls lived there and her dad lived there, and a body is found in that town, and they know why it's there, they know what happened, had something to do with it, but it's kind of like just about that, about them like reconnecting after like 15 years when the body is found, and just like their relationships, like what's gone on in their life since, and it just like, I thought I had it figured out and then it twisted this way, and so I didn't know what was gonna happen, but it was really good. I've really gotten into like dark books. I don't know where this has come from, but I think ever since I read Gone Girl, I was like, ooh, I like this genre. So like Gone Girl, Girl on the Train, I read a lot of twisted books, but it wasn't that dark, but it was kind of creepy, I guess. But it was definitely good, and I would recommend it. Next is a podcast. I think I had heard it. Young House Lab has a podcast. I think they mentioned it just because of the name, because it's John and Sherry who host Young House Lab podcast, and the podcast is called Dirty John, and they said like, oh, we should have named our podcast that. It's taken. And then I heard about it from the YouTuber Makeup by Tiffany D. She like did a kind of like get ready with me while telling the story of this Dirty John podcast, and so after that I was like, I want to read it, or listen to it, even though she kind of like spoiled it, but I wanted to hear it like the actual podcast. So in the coordinating blog post, which I've linked below, I put like exactly what is on the like Apple Podcasts like summary, but basically it's like a scammer takes advantage of a like 3-time divorcee in like the Newport Beach area, and he is just all kinds of sketchy, and goes into his life, like even further into his past, and like kind of how he got where he was, and like his wife, like he convinces her to marry him, and like so his wife's family who like don't like him and can tell something's up. Like it's 6 episodes, and it was done like by the LA Times, but it was really interesting. I think the episodes were about 45 minutes, so 6 of those, but I would definitely recommend it. It's just like twisted, and it's based on it like is a true story, so definitely go check that out as well. Again, I'm apparently into some dark stuff, so I don't know, but definitely go check that out. Next in beauty, I do technically still have this, but to hold it up it'd be a little mutilated. It is the Pink Flamingo Bubble Bar from Lush. So it's like the bubble bar that you put under the water to make the bubbles, but it's like reusable, so you don't throw the whole thing in, you can use it. So I like used half of it, but the water was going through the head of the flamingo, and you can imagine what it looks like now. So I will put a picture in of what it looks like when you buy it, but I really liked it, and I like the fact that it's like reusable, so you could get as many or as little uses out of it as you want, I'd say, but I think I can definitely get probably 3 or 4 uses out of it. I really like the smell, and it makes the water pink, and it like you can get a lot of bubbles out of it, but it was nice, and I just like how my skin feels when I use Lush products. like bath bombs and stuff like that. So treated myself to a bath, because this was actually in the Happy Bath Day like tin that my sister got me for my birthday, which I'll put a link to that video up there as well. So I'm still working on that, but I definitely enjoyed using that and will enjoy it again because it's reusable. And then the last category, I have food and drink. So the first thing is a cinnamon dolce latte from Starbucks. I've been watching Jenna Rose on YouTube, which I think I mentioned her a few months ago in a monthly favorites, and she is obsessed with Starbucks, and her go-to drink is a cinnamon dolce latte. So I decided to give it a try, and I loved it. It was like fall in a cup. Like, it just made me feel like warm and cozy. Like, it's cinnamon and then kind of caramel. It's good. I definitely would recommend it. I find it's like hard to like want to get that, especially with like the holiday menus out, but I would definitely go for it again. Yeah, it was good. I also liked the mobile app ordering, because I used that when I got that for the first time. So Ethan and I were like, I was like, oh, let's go to Starbucks, and before we got there I ordered, and I walked in and I walked to the back and I picked it up and I walked out, and I didn't have to talk to anybody, and it was awesome. So if you've never tried that, I'd suggest trying that as well, because I look on the menu on the app anyways, so definitely enjoyed that. Next is challah bread. I went to George Brown College for baking and pastry arts and management, so it's been a while, and my first month of school we basically made bread, and I got the itch to make bread again. So a few weeks ago I made some challah, basically because it was the only thing that I had time for, because it didn't take that long to like proof and stuff like that. Whereas like an Italian loaf or something like that, it needed like overnight. But challah is Jewish bread, but it's like an egg-based bread, so it's sweet and like rich, and like I'll pop in a picture of what the loaves looked like when I made it, because it's one that you braid. So you split the bread, so it was 2 loaves, so you split that in 2, and then you split those in 6, and then you braid them. But it's like you lay them all out in like 6/1 and 1/5 and blah 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 blah. But I definitely enjoyed that, and then we had 1 loaf with chili, which was like so good. And then we froze the other loaf and made French toast with that, and it like melted in your mouth. It was so good. So I got that recipe from the cookbook called The Baker and Me that I actually got for Christmas last year. So if you ever have the opportunity to make it or like to eat it, because it was good. And I love bread. And making bread reminded me how much I love bread, so probably will make some more often. And then the last thing is as simple as apple cider. I had it, my cousin actually steeped some tea into it a few weeks ago, and that was delicious. And then I had it just warm, and then I was like, oh, I could go for that again. And then I bought some more just from the grocery store, like not any particular brand, but just apple cider in general, and heated that up and drank that while I watched the Santa Claus parade, and it was perfect. So yeah, it's fairly simple, but just like makes me happy. It's the little things, you know? So that is it for my monthly favorites from the month of November. Let me know what you guys enjoyed during the month of November and what you're looking forward to in December. I can't believe like the next monthly favorites is going to go up in 2018. Everything will be linked in the coordinating blog post that I've linked below. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in next week's video. So make sure to check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if I don't see you, have a great holiday season, and I hope you guys are well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.